Boomer coming to you live from the Middle Forward Tough Studio. Boomer Science to Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever on the free Odyssey app. Good Tuesday morning. Divisional playoff weekend in the NFL is set as the Houston Texans move on as they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers last night. It was a close game for a while. The Steelers did have opportunities early on in the game with a couple of fumbles by C.J. Stroud. Could not convert in the end zone, had to settle for field goals, and then things just fell apart as that Texans defense was too good, too fast, too strong, too suffocating, and it ends up being a blowout score in the end, 30-6. So now you've got the Houston Texans going up to see the New England Patriots next weekend. A lot of action yesterday when it came to the head coaches. We had Zoom interviews, we had lunches, we had visits at houses. This is going to be a fun week to find out where everybody goes. And the Rangers blow. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, how you doing, G? And I would say in regards to last night's football game, the Texans scored more points on defense than the Pittsburgh offense did. So it just goes to show you how great a defense they do have. And by the way, I didn't think C.J. Stroud played all that well. You know, he looked really nervous in the first half and had a couple turnovers himself. And, you know, if he's going to play like that in the next round, the round after that, that's when the Texans would get in trouble. But I would think now he'll settle down. I think they're going to be really a pain in the ass to play. Their defense is as good as advertised. You know Danielle Hunter pretty well from his days in Minnesota. And he is, you talk about an underrated signing that they made, what was a couple years ago, I think it was, to go along with Will Anderson Jr. And the way that they rush the quarterback with four guys and the way that they rally the football is one of the most impressive things about what their defense does do. So if you're a defensive player out there, you watched that game last night, you had to love what you saw from the Houston Texans. And this is one of the reasons why, I really do feel like they're going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Well, Nico Collins having a concussion is a big deal for them. He is by far their best wide receiver. I know Christian Kirk stepped up in a big way last night, but Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud, that's essentially their offense. I mean, that's really what it's been.
Well, I mean, they ran the ball effectively last night. And the good thing about what they did last night, running the ball, is that they stayed with it.
Yeah, I mean, and when your defense is great and the other team isn't scoring points and you're committed to the run, it's going to work. But when you're starting to now get bigger opponents and better opponents moving forward, not having your best wide receiver is not a good thing. So we'll see if he ends up, he was carted off with a concussion, Nico Collins. So that is a big deal, and I think that if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, that's going to be a big part of it. But the defense is as good of a defense, I think, that we have seen in the NFL in a couple of years, and that's not just that's not a recency bias thing. I mean, this team has won, 10 straight football games. They're giving up 17 points per game in 2025, 2026 NFL football, where everybody's throwing the ball all over the place. I mean, the turnovers, the scoring on defense, just the way that they run to the ball, how fast they are. They just beat you up, and they were on full display last night. You think about it, I think one of the most impressive things that happened, it was the second C.J. Stroud lost fumble, and the Steelers ran 8 plays for 4 yards. And then had to settle for the field goal.
Yeah.
And they were able to, they got a penalty in there. They were able to get a first down, but then they lost more yardage. And it was right there. I just said, they're just never going to score a touchdown.
Yeah, so this defense has pretty much done this to all the other quarterbacks they played this year. Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, I think they played. They do it now to Aaron Rodgers, who took a couple hits last night. I mean, it's a real problem for opposing offenses. It'll be interesting to see how Drake May handles this coming weekend, because this will be a real test. Now, he actually just played a very good defense. The Chargers have a good defense. Seattle has a really good defense. The Broncos have a really good defense. And, of course, the Texans have a really good defense. And by the way, I thought the Patriots defense, I went back and looked at it like 10 plays of watching Justin Herbert. I just wanted to see what Justin Herbert was dealing with. His offensive line should be put in jail. I mean, that's how bad they were. I mean, they there were a couple times, and I don't want to always pick on this guy, but there were a couple times where Mekhi Becton is sitting there at right guard, and there's a twist going on the left side of the offensive line. The defense is right. So it's to Mekhi's left, and there's nobody over him. So he drops back in his passing stance, and he's just standing there like his head's not moving. And as his head is not moving, there's this guy coming right next to him, right up the middle, and absolutely decleats Justin Herbert. Right here, this one. I mean, it's embarrassing. And the fact that they made it to the playoffs and the fact that Justin Herbert took as many hits as he did this year, obviously losing their 2 tackles, during the year is what really hurt the Chargers. And who paid the price for it? Justin Herbert.
Yeah, and when you're the quarterback, it's always going to fall at your feet, and people are – yeah, and he's just getting swarmed. So
I mean, it just kept the offensive line kept collapsing.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, and that's why these tackles, when you get guys like Andrew Thomas or the 2 that you have over at the Jets, Fashanu and Membo, these are the types of guys you got to have, man. You got to have big, sturdy offensive tackles, and like that center of that offensive line, like what Chicago did this offseason in free agency. You got to shore all that stuff up with professional players that know what they're doing, or your quarterback's going to be under siege.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers are at an inflection point with their franchise. The rumors about Mike Tomlin maybe leaving, like John Harbaugh leaving, are going to be out there. Aaron Rodgers, I can't imagine, is going to come back and play next year. I don't see it. I mean, he obviously got this team to the playoffs, but he just got his ass handed to him last night. It wasn't all his fault, but it's just when you're 42 years old, you've accomplished everything that he has. He came out of that Jet thing, was able to have a good year with a good organization, going to the playoffs, winning the division. It's almost like it's time to go, up into the mountains with your fake wife and just go away now. I think that's probably what he's thinking. But maybe he does come back. Maybe there is an injury somewhere. Maybe there's a situation that's just perfect for him next year. But what the Steelers do at the quarterback position and the head coach will be very interesting. I don't think Mike Tomlin's going to go anywhere now, especially I have a feeling that the fact that John Harbaugh's out of that division and they're probably thinking we could bounce right back. We could figure this out. We could win this division again. Do we really want to make a move with Mike Tomlin? And you said it a million times. We've all seen it. The Bengals and the Steelers, very similar. They're not going to fire coaches. The Steelers have had 3 coaches in 200 years. Mike Tomlin would have to leave on his own to get out of there.
I mean, everybody likes talking about it just because the fans chirp about it, and then media talking heads like us have to have something to talk about. But the reality is that, the Rooneys and the Brown family, they don't overreact to things. They love their fans. They want to give their fans a good product. They'll pay their quarterbacks all the money that they want as long as they have a good one. And they'll continue to try. I mean, there is something to be said about the Steeler motif and the culture. You talk about culture, and when you put that uniform on, and I think most ex-Steeler players will tell you this, that there is an expectation. There really is, especially if you play defense, especially if you play linebacker.
Yeah.
Or if you're a running back, or if you're like an interior defensive player or a guard or center. Like, you never really hear too much about their tackles, although their tackles got ran over last night. But you always hear about their guards. You always hear about their running back. You hear about a tight end. They have their culture. And it's set in stone. It's led by their defense. It's led by their running game. And, of course, a stable head coach and front office. Nobody ever says, how many scouts do you have? Who's everybody knows who their GM is. There's never like these surrounding controversies that other teams deal with, just simply because the Rooneys just don't listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, they've had, I do think that's a little bit more perception than reality. I mean, they've had plenty of issues with players from, Le'Veon Bell holdout to Antonio Brown going crazy.
Well, I'm not saying they haven't had their issues.
Yeah, they've had plenty. I just feel like that Steelers culture thing kind of makes it people like, oh, it's the Steelers. I mean, they've had just as many issues as any other team, if not more.
But I would say that they overcome more issues.
Yeah, they do in the regular season, that's for sure. And then when they get to the playoffs, they can't win. This has been 9 straight times that they have lost in the postseason. And they've got a great history, and they got 6 Lombardis, and they got a lot players in the Hall of Fame, but it's just when you're that franchise and you keep running into a brick wall like this. And now, I mean, what is the future of the quarterback position for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Is it Mason Rudolph? I mean, I don't think you can go into next year with Mason Rudolph as your starting quarterback. And you're going to be way down in the draft. I don't know what their draft capital looks like, trading up to get a guy. Is Kyler Murray someone that I don't know what the hell they're going to do?
Like, they never have a top 5 pick ever.
No,
they're the opposite of the Jets and the Browns.
Yeah, I mean the closest they got, I guess, was like when they got Ben,
and he actually fell.
Yeah, what was he selected? Was it number 11 maybe, or was it 7? I don't even remember. But yeah, I mean that was the closest that they've gotten in the last number of years because Mike Tomlin never has losing seasons.
That's right.
So that's going to be an interesting one for sure, what they end up doing. And if this was Aaron Rodgers' last game, I mean, he is one of the more interesting players in the history of the NFL, one of the most talented quarterbacks we have ever seen, and one of a kind, no doubt. And this was a brutal final game for him physically. But as much as we've all been annoyed and rolled our eyes at him. I mean, the NFL has been better and more entertaining with Aaron Rodgers in it. And if this is it, then it's a shame because loved watching him.
The one guy I keep thinking about is Josh Allen, because if Josh Allen does make it to the Super Bowl, he's going to have to go. He went through Jacksonville, who has like the number 4 rush defense in the NFL. He's going to have to go through the Broncos, who I think have the number 1 or 2 rush defense in the NFL. And, we saw 2 really good defensive performances from the Texans and the Patriots. So just think of that gauntlet that he's going to have to get through if he's going to make it to Super Bowl 60. That is insane. That will be. And by the way, he doesn't turn the ball over in the playoffs. He raises his level of game. We said the same thing about Jalen Hurts. Unfortunately, that's a whole nother issue in Philadelphia that's developing. By the way, I would say that Pittsburgh, in terms of their draft capital, they have the 4th most draft picks. Looks like they have probably about at least 11 picks. And they're looking at 21, 53, 76, 85, and 99.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not like – and these guys, this team finds guys. They find people like in those mid-rounds. They find wide receivers at the end of, the 7th round.
Well, yeah, I mean, Antonio Brown was a 6th-round pick, I think, right?
I think a lot of guys fall for different reasons off the field and different situations that they find their lives in when they go through the combine, and then teams take chances on them. Tyreek Hill and the Kansas City Chiefs, They'll take a chance on a guy, and they'll see what happens. And if the guy basically gets his life straightened out, good for you. You basically – got yourself a top-end wide receiver, but, that guy's going to have to pay the price because he's not going to get the money up front that he thought he was going to get that's commensurate with his talent.
That's right.
And it's a bunch of that.
Yeah. So we've got there's only one game where there is a touchdown spread in divisional weekend, and that is the Seahawks and the 49ers. Everything else is right there, 1.5, 3. These are going to be some unbelievable football games as the schedule is set. Starts with Bills-Broncos on CBS Saturday 4:30, and then you got the Niners and the Seahawks on Saturday night. Texans-Patriots Sunday 3 o'clock, which is funny because they were waiting. If it was the Steelers, they would have put them in prime time. If it was the Texans, they had them at 3 o'clock.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That's why that wasn't announced, because they could have just announced when that game was.
Yeah, I mean, for the Rams, I guess they get a few extra hours. I mean, that's a short week for the Rams.
It is. The Texans, it's a short week too because
short
they played
on the 49ers as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a short week for 3 teams there.
Yeah, the 49ers, I think, get hosed. They're the ones that get hosed the most.
Hose spot?
But they're staying on the West Coast at least. But still, that's not, with all those injuries that the 49ers have, man, it's too bad. It's too bad. If somehow, some way, Kyle Shanahan and Rob Saleh figured this one out,
I mean, it's not.
It would be amazing.
It's not out of the question.
Yeah, but would it be? It would be. I mean, really. I mean, the Seahawks are totally healthy, ready to rock and roll. One of the most, if not the most balanced team in the league. The big question is the quarterback.
Well, yeah,
and he's played great.
He has. He also there's been a couple of wins in there that he's been okay, just good enough. He hasn't carried them like he did earlier on in the season. But, yeah, this is a big one for him. And then, obviously, the championship game, if they make it there, is going to be an even bigger one. But, yeah, I mean, that's still – I think still people are waiting to see if that Sam Darnold, happy feet, scared, tentative guy comes out in a big game again.
Yeah, Rob Saleh's going to have to heat him up somehow, just like when you're playing Philadelphia, you're not playing a great offense. When you're playing Seattle, you're playing a really well-balanced offense. They run it as well as they throw it, and it's going to be I don't know. Rob Saleh's going to have his hands full. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Rob Saleh's right back up there as everybody's darling now. It's amazing.
Yes.
You know, he came here, and then basically everybody's laughing at him and all the things that happened here, and then he gets fired after that London game, and then the Jets go down the tubes, and their defense never looked the same, and then Rob Saleh's getting kudos for keeping that team together and probably should have never been fired. Now goes to San Francisco, and here we are with him being the belle of the ball again and someone who's going to get head coaching interviews and might get another job right away.
And the amazing thing about all of this is that in the final 8 teams, 3 of them are from the NFC West.
Yeah, how about that?
Goes to show you that was the toughest division in football.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that now with those 3 teams that are in there, but, you know, you did have the NFC North that had every single team with a winning record, only the 3rd time in NFL history that has ever happened. But when you got 3 teams in the playoffs, in the divisional round, you can't really argue that one.